Hello, everybody. Welcome to the July AMA, this time with Ankur Tyagi. Like any other AMA, what we'll usually do is break it down into a few informal questions at the beginning, then we'll start with the main questions. This is a session for everyone that's watching live and for anyone who's watching afterwards. So if you have any questions that you would like to ask Ankur, feel free to leave them in the chat and we'll try to get to them as we go in just a natural sequence. Once we're done with all the questions, yours and mine, we'll cut to the last activity, which I always like to do, which is a fun game of overrated, underrated, and then we'll just close it out, and that's more or less what we'll be doing today. So hopefully we'll be able to keep it under an hour since we're all busy and it's a working day for all of us, except for Ankur, who has very generously taken the time during his vacation. So thanks a million for that. But just before I hand it over to you, Ankur, I'm just going to do a quick little intro if you'll allow me, and then you can introduce yourself in your own words in case I miss anything. But yeah, so Ankur is a seasoned software engineer. Based in Sweden at the moment, having worked at places like Accenture and Barclays, and currently working for Volvo. Even though he has a wide experience in software engineering, online you'll probably know him best for his thought leadership and for his influence in the technical writing scene. He's an avid, obviously, blog post writer, touching on various topics such as React and various databases, full stack hands-on tutorials. You can find written quite masterfully by him. And he's also the author of a few ebooks, the last being A Developer's Guide to Blogging, which we'll get to today. And I must admit, since that particular ebook, all of the contents that are in it are a lot of what we're going to be talking about today, and I can't stress how helpful it's been for the speaker to write a book because it's very easy for me to read through it and to prepare my questions. So if all of my speakers from here in the future write books, it's going to make my my job a lot easier. So you are a man of many words, albeit written words usually. So please take it away and let us know who you are in your own words.
Yeah, thank you for the generous introduction. Hey, everyone. So I think you covered almost everything. So apart from that, like I belong to India, mostly recently, almost like 2.5 years back, came to Sweden and worked in US for 3-4 months on B1 visa, and mostly worked in like service product and startups. Almost all the verticals I have touched. So now I think the main focus is like since last 2-3 years was something doing outside my regular 9 to 5. So don't have that much of guts to just do it full time. And I started working with a one-to-one mentorship back in India. I think during these pandemic days. So that's transition, something different now. This indie hacking is something I feel I would going deep down in next couple of months or years. This is what my next goal I'm planning. So closely following levels and getting him in touch with him, and he recently started following me as well. So it's let's see how I'm working on a one product these days. Let's see how things goes here as well.
Nice, incredible, and I'm sure we'll touch on a lot of that stuff, and the technical questions I promise will come now. But just if we just take a step back and look outside of your kind of like professional life, I know you live with your family there in Sweden. What do you like to do? Who is Ankur when he takes his professional hat off?
Yes, so I'm a more extrovert guy. So I used to meet people here also in Sweden. Like it's one of the things like many people feel who are specifically coming from India, like feel bored. So that is not something me, because I used to go to meetups and meet different people, not just talk about work always, just talk about different basic local stuff. And so that's where gives me more freedom or more like an energy to feel like where I am, and usually do some kind of sports as well. Generally cricket, I was doing in India, but here only in summers. So we have a cricket team, and my current boss, who is like my consultancy boss, he is the coach here. So luckily, I again found one good thing. So we usually going to play every weekends in summer days at least, trying to do that. And gym is something I usually go almost like not every day these days, but yeah, I'm trying to do it back at least like 4 or 5 days a week at least.
Very nice. Would you say that you're a stronger bowler or a stronger batter?
I'm just like a slot batsman. And like a off spin bowler, kind of.
Oh, that's pretty impressive. It's hard to put a good spin reliably on the ball. In Ireland, I mean, India is reliably and like historically much better than Ireland in cricket, but it is a little bit famous over there too, and we do practice it a little bit. But yeah, I always found bowling incredibly hard. Yeah.
Correct, correct.
Very cool. So, yeah, moving on a little bit to the meat of it, to the main questions. Um, Again, if anyone has a chance to go and check out the book, I really recommend a developer's guide to technical writing, because there you explain your kind of origin story in technical writing, and you talk about this particular project that you were assigned to way back when you were working for Barclays India, in which involved a lot of writing. I was just wondering if you could tell us a little bit about that origin story and how you got started, because there was an interesting point that you mentioned that initially you thought that the writing was dull, and I think that's possibly something that a lot of people who actually start out writing also feel. And I was wondering, how did you get over that? How did you realize? Did you know at that time that persevering and just writing through it, then it would become less dull, that it would become more interesting?
I think, yeah, it's a very interesting topic, and I've discussed with many people in Twitter DMs as well. I almost get a daily DM of similar kind of thing. Like I can start, I have started writing, but I'm not feeling the same energy or the same output I'm not getting. So back in I think 2017, if I remember, or 2018 starting, I joined Barclays, and we were running a book running. I'm not going in a very deep technical things, because like it's a banking project, so it's like a legacy code base. Lots of teams are involved, and it was like in I think COBOL based framework. So we are trying to revamp that book running application into React front end, as a front end, and it's almost like some teams are sitting in Pune, some teams are sitting in UK, some teams are in I think Noida, and so I was in mid of a team. And so one particular day, my boss or manager asked me, like, is this something you want to take? Many people are doing confidence writing, so is it something you are get interested? Also, as a typical developer who never have touched this side of story, so it was like a backlash for me. Okay, oh, why should I do it documentation? I'm here to code. It's a typical mindset we all have actually. And this is how we get trained from the start. It's not our fault, to be honest. So, but I think that was after some discussions, we started doing okay. Let me give it a hand, and I realized I think that's what I was doing when I need something deep knowledge around like the frameworks or the the knowledge around the product actually which we are building. So I was keep going to conference who has written by other people in the past from different vendors or different company stakeholders. So that's where I realized, okay, if those people don't have write these things, so where would I have gone now? Because in such industry, unless you have some very good documentation, it's very tough to make an impact in terms of coding as well. Because there are lots of edge cases, lots of different use cases, and lots of different releases going on in parallel. So it's completely different game in software engineering unless you really give one company or one project at least 2, 3, 5, 4 years. You need to give your 100% to understand the ecosystem, and domain knowledge is really important. So I started writing, and in the start, it's the same feeling. Like whenever, let's say, someone wants to write a blog post now, so first blog post, he will give too much of energy, and he will be very enthusiastic, and he will feel very good after writing 1 or 2 blog posts. But if nobody will read, so he definitely, like, it's a human psychology or biology, whatever you can say, that we need some kind of a reward, what we want to do. But their reward was not in terms of monetization, but reward was like my manager was happy, and in fact, so he praises me a lot in the meetings in front of directors. So I was feeling good, and that's what keeps me motivated. And in terms of always end of the year, I get some good like hikes as well. But after that, I think it was used to, I moved to some other team, and it was not I was not very regular in terms of writing. But I think
Yeah.
in back 2020, again, I got introduced to Twitter. As I said, Twitter, I was literally following celebrities and politicians. I don't even know what Twitter was. I just go to Twitter just to maybe ranting about our different vendors in India. So I am completely clueless about Twitter. But I met a couple of good people. I followed them and messaged them. So this is where I think I feel I utilize my skills well. And I was doing this not purposely. I was doing this all these things like messaging people and asking them how they are doing, and not being afraid of not getting answered back. And that is something I feel many people got stuck, and they feel, okay, I messaged this guy didn't respond me. Don't feel bad because they are not obliged to give you answers. If you really send some interesting message and you have done something interesting or not even interesting, so they might or might not give you answer at that moment. But I think you must try at least 2, 3 times, and don't be spammy, don't be pushy in terms of let's say you're messaging someone and someone is not responding. Let it be that. Just move on after following up for maybe 2, 3 times. If he's not interested in you, that means you have to choose some other person. So there are many and number of people who can help you or guide you. It's not always just stick to one particular person in this journey. And I started writing on Twitter. So one day I met a couple of one person. I don't want to take a name of his name, but yeah, he asked me like, why don't you start writing your experience in a blog post? So I again, I have written this, but I was not having the same energy. But he said, okay, just start randomly on Dev2. Doesn't matter what platform you are, and
Yeah.
that's what I have shared in the book as well. Like, it's not something I have purposely did what I have achieved in last 3 years. It's all about randomness. I was randomly sharing, like, if you look at the book, I remember first 3 posts were like totally randomness. And for first post, I shared my 10 years of experience. Third is like something I was
How to not lose like
doing some
motivation during COVID or
yeah,
something.
COVID experience I shared, like how people are not losing motivation. And third is like I think Angular project. There was how I build that end-to-end integration system of test automation testing. So all these things, like I don't have any roadmap to write. So that's where I and now after deep diving in this writing stuff, reading lots of uh, big writers like Paray or Gergely or many other writers. I read a lot, to be honest, these days. So that's what I feel. Don't feel a copying paradox as well, like you are copying someone. So see, everyone is copying someone other else, and unless you trying to make understand what they have written, why they have written, and how exactly they have written, so you won't be able to find your unique style. So instead of writing a very good technical article, just find out your the way you want to write, not the other way around, the way
Yeah.
not people want to read you. So because unless you make yourself comfortable while writing, it's very tough to uh, write out something really important.
Yeah.
I feel that journey is all about randomness, and I channelize that energy, and I was not pushing that hard in terms of not getting out of my comfort zone. So if to typical developer, like 90% will say no, okay, no, I just want to code and I don't want to do this. For example, in unit testing as well, like most of us, we don't want to write unit test. We just want to write good code.
Yeah.
So whenever you see in your career, like there are some weird opportunity you are getting, so
Yeah.
just give maybe one try or two tries. You never know, and that's how I think many uh, what I can say, like many people who started startups, so they just don't suddenly one day after taking shower and breakfast, they don't think like, okay, now today I have to do startup. They are doing something in parallel every single day, and one all of a sudden day they start making stack on stack on stack. So that's how things work, and that's where I am here. Even getting opportunity to student as well. It's all about if I haven't started that one-to-one mentorship back in India, and never met this guy who helped me to achieve this opportunity seal. And he asked, we worked together almost like a 7 months. We helped around almost 50 or 60 people in terms of everything like technical to how to negotiate your salaries and how you should present yourself in interviews, all those things. And we were charging around, I think, very nominal fees, 5,000 or 10,000 rupees. I don't even know that how much we should charge. That's why what I now I'm charging $1,000 just for a blog post. But yeah, over the period of time, you understand all these things. So don't just feel obligated at the start. I think just you have to start and see how you are evolving yourself in this process. That's what I feel.
Yeah. Well, wow, a lot to unpack there. A lot of great stuff. Thanks for that. Yeah, it really resonates with me. Just and I can kind of understand your kind of trajectory better, knowing that you had a mentor, because when you only really know, like, as a person, what's possible when you see what others have done, right? And I think you probably, I'm sure you're aware of it now, but you're a very good mentor to other people now, even maybe if it's not like one to one. But one of the most incredible things that you provide, in my personal opinion, especially on Twitter, is your incredible transparency, of course, around the techniques and writing and consistency and all the actual kind of like technical skills that you need to become a good writer. But apart from that, you're very transparent about the monetization aspect, which is very important, right? Because you mentioned that a lot of developers don't really think about don't really think about writing documentation that much, and some even think of it as an afterthought almost. But once, and in your case, you got the recognition from your boss initially, and then you realize, whoa, actually, this is a way to monetize. Potentially, I might be able to have a side income. And it's been incredibly important, the influence that you've put out in the world, because other people have have seen that. And of course, with the book, it's very interesting that in the book in particular, you mention that of course it's possible for everybody, but some of the key ingredients that you mentioned that helped you a lot was your experience, of course, like in the industry for a while, like almost a decade by the time you started technical writing professionally, and also the brand awareness really helps out a lot. And also, writing is a skill that comes, like most skills, with work, right? So like when someone starts writing, they're probably not going to be great writers from the get-go. So in your personal opinion, for someone who wants to start out and maybe has like a year or two of tech experience in some technical roles, what's a realistic timeline that they could expect to start monetizing, to start getting maybe like a one or two, obviously work their way up to blog posts at $1,000 a pop, but at least maybe $50 or $100?
Yeah, I think let's be honest here. It's not easy to monetize. I think they are good money, and there are ample amount of moat. I would say in this area, and especially when it comes to startups. I think, and the idea from where I got this, I think if you know, I did one quarter time developer advocate role at Super Tokens. I think back in 2020 December until I think last year April May. And I realize I think most of the DevRels has to write some technical articles and produce almost like a weekly basis. So I was doing for them, and I realize I think this is a very common problem across startup ecosystem, and unfortunately, the many good DevRels are not able to produce it because they are not very good in that area. They are good in some different, maybe they are good in conferences, they are good in like giving YouTube videos, but not good enough in writing. And same with me, because I'm not very good enough when it comes to talking to myself as a YouTube. I tried YouTube, but it was way awkward, I feel. Not the way I'm talking to you and people right now, because I can talk to people, many people, one to one. But when it comes to just talking to me, it's completely horrible. And so I just lost that area because I'm not good enough in that. So I realized for a new beginner, I think it's very determination for at least 6 to 12 months and very minimum amount of hours I feel, which I did already as a proof for you guys. In 2020 till 2021, I got this developer advocate, almost right around 50, 60 blog posts, very nominal. Some are very clueless, and that is one of the reasons I haven't deleted those stupid blog posts, I would say. I just write whatever came in my mind and whatever I was searching on Google, and in getting my flavor onto that, my experience, what I did in Accenture, what I did in XYZ company. And this is where I feel if you just stick to around maybe 12 months or 24 months, something, whatever max you can stick, you already started getting idea like, is this something really working for you, or is this something really you enjoying? Because if you just writing for the sake of monetization, because that way it will definitely never gonna work, and you will never gonna make any kind of monetization. And I will be very blunt here, but yes, if you start writing and enjoying this process and making out of the blue, you share your actual things, what you are learning. Maybe, for example, if someone is like a very new grad, or he just started his corporate experience, he don't even know what should he write. But yes, definitely he has many things to write. He can write his hostel experience, he can write his college experience, first year experience, second year experience, what exactly he did in that particular exam and that particular so write from your conversation. So people ask me like, what should we write? So there are many things. Even I can write about this conversation, what you and me are rightly currently, which we are having. Maybe people who are asking questions. So just note down these questions and try to give answers from your perspective, what you have learned. So something on this line, if you stick around, and there are some already, I think, writing programs available. Some people are openly giving you opportunities. I think one of the there is one GitHub repository I also maintained. I have added that couple of companies name in that. Maybe if you know, you can raise a pull request. I can merge that. And there are one particular website and who pays technicalwriters.com, I think. So you can go to that, sign up,
We'll link
and
those to
and
the
the
video.
best, yeah, yeah, and the best trick, I think, what I can give you: join a Discord community of particular startup which you want to write, send the message to founders, and wait. And but before that, you must have done something interesting. You must have something to show them, because just going bluntly before, don't even have done something substantial in any kind of a social media platform, or maybe writing platform. So it doesn't work like this. You have to be interesting to get answers from interesting people.
Yeah. No,
And
and
there is one example, I think, one example I would like to give, the person who is Satyam Tripathi. I think he's doing really well. I think last year we just had a chat around all this technical writing, and he is doing really really well. There are many other people in community on Twitter as well, so they are doing. In fact, some of my good friend like Bonnie as well, he's doing perfectly well. Another person is also, he's from, I think, Africa. I forgot his name, but he's also doing really well. So there are good amount of opportunity. And one last thing I would like to add here is, like, compare that example which I have given in my books page as well. Like a particular DevRel, if company has to hire in US, so they have to give minimum bare like 100K to 150K. So same goes, like, think writing in terms of software development. So why people go and hire in India? Because that's how is the market is, like, wherever you get business in terms of low cost people. So you'll get better opportunities, and there are very less writers who can actually give good enough writing for. And when it comes to deep technical integration, so you must be having good technical knowledge. Like, you must have done some hands-on experience, because without that you can't even write, you can't integrate two products.
of course, yeah, we're talking about technical writing, right? We're not just talking about, but talking about your experience and stuff can definitely help improve your writing skills and stuff like that. But I think then probably the monetization and comes with a little bit more technical expertise. I remember that, or actually, it kind of reminds me of a conversation, or a bit of the conversation that I had in last week's virtual workshop with Vince Kanger, where he mentioned that many times the person that can teach us the most is someone that's very close to the experience that we're having. So it's usually like, if you want to become a junior React developer, it's more probably the person that's going to be able to help you the most is maybe the senior developer that just went through what you're going through maybe just a couple of years ago. You're probably not going to ask that distinguished engineer at Google to tell you how to become your first steps as a front end developer. And yeah, and so that's super interesting. The second thing that's really interesting too is that you kind of instinctively saw that you can kind of break down just by understanding concepts and translating them. You saw that there was a kind of a gap, which is that a lot of startups need this. They need this this synthesis work of getting the idea out there and in front of people, and they need it so much that they're able to accept what you coined. I've never heard anyone talk about this concept of the quarter time developer advocate. So it's like, yeah, we need someone to write content so much that will take you for 1/4 of the week.
Correct. So it's all like all unless you do experiment and give options to the people, it's not doesn't work like that. So I wanted to do this like developer advocacy back in like 1.5 year back, and everyone was doing so. I was feeling little FOMO, to be honest. I'll be again honest here, and I wanted to try this, but due to this visa issues, I can't do much out like a full time kind of a role. And because I'm here as a consultant on a business visa, so full time role is something not fit in my visa. So I'm here as a consultant. So I thought, okay, I can't go full time. So, but maybe I can try it part time, something like that. And I was following Daniel's, and he was doing a similar kind of role at Gumroad back in 2020 as a quarter time advocate. So that's where I get motivation from there. So I simply just copied his idea and pasted my motivation and just send it around two, three CEOs, and it works because they also need that. And I always believe if you are good at what you know, so there is always a demand. So many people think like, okay, it's I'm getting this, I'm not getting this, I'm not getting this. So something you have to look at in yourself. Something is wrong with you. And yes, there are some bad times as well. I'm not saying you will be very egoistic and no, it's not. I'm not saying this, but you have to take some chances. And still, it not always works. I tried this maybe few months back as well again because as I just said, I am again having some extra time after writing this book. So I thought maybe I can take it. But this time market is not that well. People are not interested. So I'm not getting that kind of response. People are saying, okay, just wait, we need it, but not at this time, maybe after 3 months or 4 months. So just shoot whatever you want in your life. But before that, I think you must have done something really technical, really like must have some good network, good people around you who can understand and who can give you good guidance. So that's why I think mentorship is something I always believe. I always feel grateful I met that person in my life who changed the perspective of how you should build yourself as a career in tech, at least in India, because most of the time people are like going for yearly appraisals and doing overwork. So he was the one who make me understand like, okay, no need to do overwork, just do the work which is acceptable enough, maybe like the original time limit. But after that, you should do something for yourself.
Yeah.
And that is where you will not feel lagging behind when it comes to layoff because it's a cycle. It's like a stock market. Like once it's up, sometimes it's down, sometimes it's again up. So it's you who needs to design what works for you and what doesn't work.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the incredible power of technical writing that you've been able to kind of dispel for other people that yeah, you don't necessarily have to depend, and it's not even about like quitting your job. It's about just having something on the side that if you do have a layoff that come around cyclically, as we can probably see, yeah, you don't necessarily have to run into a panic state and take a job that you probably wouldn't. No, you have a little cushion to fall back on. Speaking about technical savvy people and people who have a huge amount of potential and that who can definitely benefit a lot from mentorship. We just have a question here from Commissar Maintainer Shubham, who asked that back a few, I think he said that he tried technical writing professionally once during the Google season of documentation last year. What would you recommend for the next steps should be? And just a little bit of context, he's a full-time software developer who can, how can one effectively keep growing in this aspect as well?
I think this is, I have already answered, to be honest. This is what I think you already did this professional training. So don't wait. You just have to write and pull out your thoughts in front of people, because only motivation or only validation in writing is the views. So I think unless you have good views or people not coming to read you, so it's very tough for you to keep motivating in writing. But at least what I feel you can do, as if you are full-time software developer like me as well, so you must have some you have to take some time out if you really want to do something out of the box. So I will suggest maybe write at least one 500 word article, bare minimum. And start gradually increasing 500 to 800, then 1000, then 1200, then 1500, maybe then 2000. That's where you'll give motivation and start building relationship with people, join some discourse, and I think share things on Reddit. Reddit is something, if you get one particular blog post, can give you the n number of views, which even 10 blog posts can't give you. So I think there is saying, in my view, uh, people thinks like everyone has same 24 hours, so you have to sacrifice something somewhere, somewhat. So I sacrifice some time with my son, some time with the family. So before coming here in India, I was a night person mostly, because that's how it works better for me in India. But here, like in winters, it's very dark around 3 4. It's almost like a 16 hours, 17 hours night. And so I
Wow.
was feeling a bit awkward here. So I started switching. So I'm now waking up around 4, 3, whenever I feel. It's not always, I'm not saying I'm always waking up at 3, 4. No, that is bullshit. Those tweets or those motivation things are totally clueless. But whenever for example, I have shared this while writing the book. Uh, I have given the pre-order 3 months of period of time, but I knew that I will just write around 50% somewhere in one and 1 month. But 50% I have write in last 20 days. I have, because that's where you have to give some milestones, some imaginary arbitrary targets to you. So Shubham, I think you need some kind of a target. For example, write. I have to write 24 blog posts next 12 months. That's it. So you will feel some motivation and little bit of obligation. So options versus obligation, which is I would say this as a terminology basically. So in the start, I think you don't have much options, and but a lot of obligations. But later, once you have some amount of writing already available in your blog post or portfolio, so then you can understand and see, okay, this is something I'm not enjoying, or I'm not good enough, or I have to take a lot of extra help or something like that. So you drop that area and move to the things which are working for you, which are good enough. You can write without much hassle. Or and one more example is something I would like to give you. I think yesterday I'm on leave again, but all of a sudden I think I came from somewhere in around evening after playing with my son, and I got some a new very good idea while walking and playing. So I just sit around after dinner, and almost like 3 4 hours I write yesterday night. So this is how it works. I think it's not very, you have to do it very regularly. Okay, every single day I have to write or like that. Definitely, at least if this works for you. So you have to find your own arrangements basically to keep motivated. And reading is something I would encourage everyone. So give it a random read, technical read. Go to company pages and see who this person is who has written this particular blog post. Maybe message them, and after, if you have some questions, like, and if you like them, and this is one of the good thing, like if you really want to make some good friends online internet networking, instead of just asking in upfrontly in a first meeting or in a first DM. Just follow them on social media, engage with their content, and give some good feedback. Then DM them. So this is how it actually works, and this is how I have done with many people. I have done with founders. I have done with indie hackers. I have done with other people as well.
Yeah. That kind of ties in nicely into another thing that I wanted to ask, because a good tip that you give there is deciding that you're going to write 12 blogs this year, and so that breaks down to one a month, and and doing that, and that would be a great way to start. But that, of course, requires consistency. And in the book, you write that one of the, in your opinion, one of the kind of most important skills for a writer to have, and you write, I wrote it down here, that the top writers are the ones that when they get off track, they get back on the most. So,
Actually,
yeah, I was just going to say, even though I know the answer, like how to be consistent, just do it. Just do it. But like, even though that's the case, would you have any like tips, or like how can we force ourselves to be more consistent?
I think it's really important, and that's why I give that example just before this question. I think you have to find something what is working for you, because it's easy to say for me, okay, I have done this and I have done that, and you just follow this. It's completely clueless. I was also in the similar boat, but I think now over the period of time, my thinking process has changed. My the way I look at the world, or the way I look at my work as well, is being changing, and I'm also trying to change it. So see, motivation is something intrinsic. I think if you really want something, you don't need any outside motivation. Basically, this is how it works for me. And if you feel, and again, I will circle back to the same point. If you are writing just to monetize or just to earn dollars or money, you will never gonna make it. Damn sure. Maybe some for some it works, but most of the 99% people will fail. You have to write for yourself, and you have to write something unique, and how you can present yourself. Look at the example of pragmatic engineer, the Gergley. He almost like I think there is one tweet I have shared, the paragraph where it started getting traction of pragmatic engineer becomes number one newsletter in tech. Almost like a 3 and 4 years, it was a flat line. He was almost writing for himself, and all of a sudden, some people are getting good traction, and that's how it works for almost most of the things in not even just writing. So I think consistency or motivation, all these things are good enough to talk, but I think it's mostly individual who depends. All people's circumstances are different. All we are from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
Some people are married, some people are single, some people are in different issues at maybe some are not that much technical, some are not that much proactive, or some people are maybe facing issues even at English language as well. And I feel grateful, like at least in India, I think people are good enough spoken English. What I have realized, it's a very big thing, because in India, many people don't even realize this English is just another language for us nowadays. But I think when it comes to if you come to Europe, I think English, if you are a good English speaker, it's a very big advantage for you.
For sure. Yeah, thanks, man, for that. So we have another question here. We're getting great questions from two people in particular, Shubham, the previous question, and Kunal Verma. These are two people in particular that we have to check in with them in 5 years, because I'm sure that they're going to do some great work in technical writing and as software engineers. But Kunal writes that he's a student right now, and he's involved with DevOps and cloud native communities. And he mentions that there's a lot of kind of saturation when it comes to some topics, specifically like around Kubernetes and other cloud native topics. And he's wondering, what things should we keep in mind if we want to write on the same topic but keep the blog authentic and and kind of slightly, I'm guessing slightly to kind of putting their own twist on the same topic that's already been written about for the long time for in many other cases. What kind of practical advice would you give?
I think yes, it's a very generic question. I think it's for me as well, to be honest, Kunal. I think duplicacy is something we all afraid of. Okay, if you just type React or Angular on Google, I think you will get almost like a n number of articles or blog posts already written by people. But I think if you look at my one of the post recently, I've shared top five blogging platforms. In that, I've shared one screenshot of free code camp editor. I'm writing a guide for FCC in React, and the way they gave me the feedback, it's really like fabulous actually. So you need there are. I'm not denying the fact that. For a particular topic, like as you said, you are in cloud native or Kubernetes. So there are maybe some good enough blog posts, but you must not stop writing just because that there are good enough blog posts already available, because it's not something they have written in the way you have learned it and what you know exactly kind of a problem you have faced. For example, when you have started your journey, which courses you have taken, which links you were searching for that, and to whom you have asked this questions or help, and what help you have get in those terms of that particular journey. So try to use your journey as your main leading point, basically, while writing the blog post. So people don't come to read. This is again one trick I will trying to share with you, like developer stories, which I personally believe, like every developer has something unique to offer to this world, because we all are different humans, we all have different colleagues, we all are having different backgrounds in our family. So try to use your stories in those technical blog posts as well. Like technical stories, I've already given you the example, like how you exactly learn all these technologies, which courses, and all those technical pain points, basically, you had that during that phase. And if you are writing some other general topic about Kubernetes, maybe some comparison or some a product review kind of a blog post. So you can use your own developer story, like why you choose Kubernetes only, and what are the effects you have seen after choosing this particular technology in this particular project. People want to listen your stories actually, not just they don't want to come to learn from more technical, to be honest. They want to understand, okay, how this the Ankur Tyagi guy has done this particular thing, and how like most of the people are if I give you example, in almost like a 200 blog posts I have written almost in last 2 3 years, 5 to 10 blog posts are something are very highly matured, and most of the views are coming from that. So your not every single blog post will give you the views, but that will stack up unless you write those mediocre or low ball blog posts. You will never able to produce that your actual gem of a work, and that's where I would say don't afraid of about duplicacy. There are many people, you never know who will resonate only with you, not with me.
Yeah. That reminds me of there's many
Because
times.
again, I'll just add one more example.
For sure.
Sorry to cut you.
No worries.
Just to extend this Kunal's answer, like if you feel if I haven't started writing, so we are not even here to discussing this, Kunal. If I have thought like, okay, many people has already written React, okay, who will read me, who is, and yes, you are not alone. I also have such almost the same thought process like 2 3 years back. okay, who I am. I'm just another developer who will read mail. But now there are many people. In fact, yesterday only one person. I'll definitely message you on this chat. He read my article on Medium and he message commented on that, and that was the pure jam to see all those messages coming from different parts of the world.
I think it's incredibly important advice to give, that the more that you customize it to your kind of authentic opinion, your authentic viewpoint, the more people, of course not at the beginning. Like at the beginning, people are not going to come and read you because it's you. But if you always write with that authenticity, and thanks a million, Kunal, for sharing an example of one of your blog posts in which you've written specifically about your perspective on how you prepared for the HashiCorp certified Terraform associate. Because if we think about our personal lives, the amount of times I tune into podcasts with speakers that I've heard speak many times before, and I more or less know kind of what the conversation is going to be around, but I tune in again because of that specific person, that I know the way they articulate ideas, and I'm interested in what they have to say. And of course, it's not going to be from one day to the next that you're going to be able to get that following of people that are going to read you just because you put something new out. But yeah, I think it's great advice to stay authentic and stay true to your personal perspective, because that's scalable over time. I'm just looking at the time,
So
and I
look at this article. Yesterday, only one person has commented, and there are n number of guides available on internet, but this guy only loves this article. So there is no point to stop you. So don't judge yourself only. Let public and people decide, and they are the only real judge out there in the market.
um perfect. Yeah. Thanks a million. And by the way, after this, I'm going to gather all the links. I'm also going to ask you for those people that you mentioned. We'll add everything in the description of the video, just so everything is all in one place. I'm mindful of everyone's time, also yours, Ankur. We're close to closing in on an hour. If it's okay with you, we can do maybe two more questions and then close it out with that game.
Yeah, sure.
Perfect. Thanks a million. So the next question is about something that I apologize beforehand if this is something that's obvious to people, but it wasn't very obvious to me. And when I was reading the book, of course, I was expecting to see a lot of techniques and a lot of kind of skills and tips for picking up the hard skills for technical writing. But another way to look at your book is kind of like an ode to cold emailing and cold DMing. It's like you write. I think you dedicate a whole chapter to it, and it was really interesting to see how you use it and how you give some best practices to it. Because at the end of the day, it's something that we all do. I kind of felt bad that I only read the book after I cold DM'd you, because I think I would have maybe changed a little bit and I would have taken some of your tips. But it's something that we all do as professionals. It doesn't matter like how alone in a back room you are writing code. There will be times that you're going to reach out to somebody, and those impressions and those interactions are incredibly important. So could you just kind of like tell us a little bit about what's your philosophy on cold emailing and cold DMing, and what are the tips that we should kind of follow to do it right?
I think yeah, it's a really important thing, and many people don't even realize like this is a very niche thing which you can do at any places, at least all these internet world, and many big people are just a DM away, and but it's you who has to earn something before DMing them. Because I think for let's say one real-time example, you want something, a writing contract, or you want to write XYZ startup blog, but it's not feasible unless you have done something good enough. But yes, still there is a good enough chance let's say you are a plain person, you haven't write a blog post, and you are just a software developer. So instead of a messaging founder or that most technical person, I think it's good enough to find a good community lead or maybe a developer advocate who is advocating that product itself, and try to spend some time online with him in community, help them. So this is how it's all about relationships. So in networking as well, I always believe like it's not just one-to-one people. So connect people with people, and people with opportunities, and people with different level of things which you have learned in the past. Like share everything. So that's what you have said in the start. Like I have shared everything openly. Many people were speculating like I'm lying. No, no, I'm not lying. How can you charge $1,000 just for a blog post? So that's where I have given the specific example, like how it's still not very high amount. Like some people who knows, some people in my network, they are charging like almost like a 2-3 times just for a one blog post. So if it's you who needs to understand your value, where you are right now in that ladder, basically. So cold EM is something which I was doing unpurposely back in my early days on LinkedIn, and I was naturally good in this. Like I was able to make relationship with people quite fast. I'm not sure, maybe it's something God has given me gift, but still share this with the people on tweets, with the tweets, helping with the tweets. One example I would give, I think you have written the book. I would encourage you to take my course as well. In that, I have shared almost 10, 12 DMs of what I have did on Twitter. One of the example, I think I was a very small account, maybe like 100 followers or 10 followers, somewhere around on Twitter. I messaged Angie. I was struggling with one of the issue back in my Java code, and she all the way helped me out, and it was fascinating to see like a big person. Same goes with me right now. Like I try to reply almost every message, but to be honest, nowadays it's not the same which I did back in my early days. But yes, if message is really interesting, person is really, I see his profile or what he has done in the past. If it is just a spam kind of a message, I don't engage. Previously, I have replied to almost everyone, but now I think if you want to learn cold DMs, so I think just saying hey or I'm not, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. No, I think first make some good relationship, engage with that particular person, and there are three stages I feel of cold DMing or email. Like before you write, and when writing is in the process, and then after you send. And before you write is something, why you want to send message to Jack, why you want message to Ankur. You must have some clear goals in your mind, what you want from Ankur or what you have to give to Ankur, basically. And it's all about transactions, it's all about networking. So don't feel bad about, because unless every person is busy in their own area, own life, so not everybody is having that much amount of energy or time, because distance drum sounds well. It feels good when you see people on Twitter or social media. Okay, this is very good. This is very high profile person. No, no, every person is having some kind of a struggle. So give them exact things what you want from them, and then writing is the process. So before sending, before hitting that message, read it twice and see how it looks to you if someone send the same message to you. Because when you are sending message, you are not talking one to one. It's messaging. It's giving us different kind of impression, different kind of a sense as a human. And after writing as well, don't expect if you send 1 to 50, 100, 200, 1000 DMs. Can you send 1000 DMs? It's again a psychology. You have to identify first those 1000 people. And it's not an easy task. Again, I told you it's intrinsic motivation. I had that motivation, so I did that. But you can start maybe 5 people. And after sending those 5 people, if they don't reply back to you. Don't feel offended. Don't do any stupid things. Don't feel they are arrogant. Don't feel any XYZ thing, because they are not obliged to answer you. They haven't asked you to message them, because most of the people do this mistake. Hey, I sent this guy a message, but he is very rude. He's sitting, he's become NRI, he's become doing that. Like, there are 10 number of things people will make in his mind. No, it's you who need help. Unless you are interesting people, it's very tough to if people who are ahead of you basically in that game to answer you back. Unless you have something great or substantial to offer them, it's very, very hard to get answer back. Yes, there are some good people. There are some average things, like they are able to manage like a social media profile as well, their work profile as well, their family profile as well. But there are some people who only wants to concentrate on their own work. They don't have time for other people. So
Yeah.
cold DM is something I feel is you must start taking chances. And if you are not getting answers after sending maybe one, two follow-up, leave that person, move to second one. Again, do the same strategy. And there is saying in our Hindu holy book, like you are only entitled to do some actions, but don't expect fruits from your actions. It's, I think, God who will decide what will happen with
Yeah.
you.
Great point. Yeah, I think there are actually studies on this, right? That they, I think it was actually Slack that, or at least the studies were around Slack messages in work environments. That the conclusion was that positive messages are sometimes, or most times, or at least can be interpreted as neutral messages, and neutral messages can be interpreted as negative. So if you get an answer back and they say, sorry, no, I can't, full stop, they might have written it like, oh, sorry, no, I can't. But you read it as like, sorry, no, I cannot.
I
So
can't,
don't.
cannot, yes.
Exactly. And we should definitely be like charitable with our interpretation of the answer that we're getting back, because of course we're the one that are soliciting something. And yeah, I think that those
And
are.
and again, one more point is like treat this cold DMing or email as a chess. I think in chess, you don't know what is coming from the next person move, so you have to plan your move accordingly. And you can't expect a person to give you all the their chances in upfront. So you have to be really interesting and give them something unique, and just ask one single thing, because don't ask I'll again can talk on this topic longer hours, but there are many messages people just send me. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I need this from you, I need that from you. How can you expect from a stranger to give you that leverage and without even interacting constantly? So because that is where it's a very easy way around, which I found, like if you really want to had a conversation with someone on internet, the short bet is something. Just start following them.
Yeah.
Maybe try to comment on their tweets. If I talk about Twitter, for maybe a couple of days or months constantly. Because once you start, let's say I tweeted and you commented, and you again a second day do the same thing. So I'm seeing you. Hey, okay, Kunal is coming on my tweet and he's having good conversations. I will be obligated to go and check your profile, because you are being very interesting in comments. That's where people are start noticing you.
Yeah.
And then after a month or two, maybe you can send me some messages. Hey Ankur, I'm done this, I'm done that. This is something which is you are feeling good or something like that.
Yeah.
And 99% of chances are you will definitely get a reply.
Yeah. Perfect. Thanks, mate, for that. I have one more question, and then we'll move on to the last question from Seyi, one of the also another community member. one of the paradigms that were also kind of broken for me while I was reading the book was your ideas around feedback, and specifically feedback and how feedback can improve your technical writing. Because before reading, when I just thought about feedback, I thought there was two types. You either give it or you receive it. But then you talk about this very interesting third aspect that is kind of like it's linked to receiving, but you say that it's very important to ask for feedback and not only say, hey, could you take a look at the blog post and tell me what you think, but to give people kind of like restrictions about what you're asking about and telling people, yeah, like I would like you to tell me what you think about this particular aspect. And then you mentioned the different methods that some other people that you follow have used to ask for feedback. For example, the ABC method. I forget exactly which questions equate to each one of those letters. But could you tell us a little bit about what methods can we best kind of use to be able to request the feedback that's really going to improve our technical writing?
I think yes, feedbacks are again one of the important points when it comes to writing, and you definitely need good feedbacks in the start, and in fact, not in the start, like or continuously. Like right now, I have a full-time editor with me. Like whenever I need some help, so he can help me. Like I generally hire people from fewer like, as a part-time person. So in fact, in book as well, he helped me in editing. So, but previously, like if you don't have that much of leverage, because now, right now I have some money, so I'll want to spend that and have some do some more interesting work. But if you don't have that much of leverage, I think best idea what I did in the start is like get feedback around people who are around yourself, like maybe your colleagues. If you are working in tech, ask that colleague who don't even go to social media, who don't even have a Twitter profile, who don't even go very active on these things, who don't even know what blog post is. Just throw it there. But if you ask them, hey, I write this, can you give me this feedback? Maybe he will just say, it's okay, it's very good, it's bad. So I really don't like all these feedback. It's good, it's bad. It is the most bullshit feedbacks you have ever received.
Yeah.
You need to give them some obligations. So ask them some particular questions. Hey, can you see is this particular introduction is good enough? Did you get some feel from the heading blog post title? Do you really want to open such kind of blog post? So you have to ask them some particular questions, make them easy to give you feedback. It's because unless you give them some questions, so they will always feel obligated to give you feedback. So the best way to get out from this feedback back and forth is Kunal asked me, hey, Ankur, can you give me this feedback? Yeah, Kunal, it's very good. It's perfectly fine. I will just say that. But if you ask me some good questions, can you help me in this conclusion? Is this good enough? Should I add this word block below this paragraph or above this paragraph? Is this markdown is good enough? Is this quote is too much of quote? So there are many questions you have asked me. So now I have to be a little careful before answering you back. I really have to read that. Not just skimming will work for me. And I have to spend at least 10-15 minutes to give you good, proper feedback. That's what like ABC, like ask questions and give them something in offer maybe. But what I do generally, like I ask people around in my community and give them my books. Or maybe give them something in offer. I can help you around in some way that maybe in mentorship or something. Or it's again a two level things I'm talking about here. One is something around your colleagues and something around like senior people or the junior people who are up and below your ladder. So that is also they can give you some really fantastic feedback which you can never even imagine outside the world, and then incorporate those feedback and follow up with them. Because what we feel, it's not always good for you and healthy if you just getting positive feedback. I think negative feedback works much better for you, instead of just saying, hey, it's very good, like good enough blog post. So I think that way feedback loop is something really important to continue writing. And once you start getting all these feedbacks and implementing those feedbacks, and that's where you get the idea what exactly is working, and what is your writing style, and is this something I'm comfortable enough, and this is I'm liking to present the way I want to present to my audience.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I remember reading is that you sometimes ask, "What did you learn from this?" And just echoing what Breathe in the chat has written, they say that their brother has zero knowledge of tech, and they always ask him to see the writings to see if a full like newbie in the field understands it. So that kind of is. If someone has no idea about what you're writing about, you're going to see very clearly what is it exactly that they learned. What did the writing say specifically?
Again, this is a good example. Brother has zero knowledge of tech, but at least he is a human, right? He can sense your blog post title. Is it something really good enough for a person who is not in tech? So he can give you some blunt feedback. Oh no, this is a very stupid title which you have written. And might be he is not even give you that level of feedback, but at least you get a sense. Okay, this is not something very unusual and just for a specific audience. So that is fine. But my main idea here is to present about feedback to you, all of you, is like give people options, and feedback is not just like one time activity, and unless you have good enough questions for them, it's very hard for people to give you good feedback. And what I've realized, the people including me as well, I'm not a very good critic, to be honest. uh, you need to find some good critics, so who are not, to be honest, not a very good writers. So good critics are what I feel is not good writers. So maybe that way, try to find some good people around your community who are not interested by themselves to write more, so they can have good enough feedback. But again, here's the controversial advice. Some people are very good in giving you writing feedback. For example, this free code camp editors are really top notch. Like they give you excellent feedback, and I'm learning a lot from them that I haven't learned anywhere till now.
Yeah.
So hoping I will write some good handbooks for FCC this year.
Perfect. So I'm again mindful of the time, so just going to close it out with the last two questions, and then any other questions that we might have, maybe we can answer them async on the server. The first one is from Seyi, which he asks, which do you find easier, writing documentation for developers or for users? And the second question that was asked earlier on from Mohamed, I think it's a simple question, but could be very interesting to see your answer, is which is your favorite book?
I think writing for developers or users, for particularly, in my opinion, humble opinion, I think it doesn't make much difference to me. Why? Maybe like if I just talk about developers, so I'll try to make it more friendly. Let's say I'm working on some integration, X product to Y product, maybe some database to some framework, something I'm trying to build an application. So I'll try to give them the most user-friendly way to how exactly I build. And if I talk about user point of view, so maybe users are not that much of technical, so you have to be little more conscious around end users instead of developers, because developers can understand the jargons and the terminologies. So you have to might make some balance around the post which you are working on or want to write for the people. So audience definitely matters. End of the day, it's all you can't make much of a difference in your writing. It's you who can decide whatever level of depth of technicality you want to do in one particular thing. In terms of book, I think I have read many books, but not any particular, to be honest, as very kind of favorite. But I think Psychology of Money is something I have read many times in my life. While maybe I'm very uh, fond of money during those days. So, but yeah, in that book, I like one of the paragraph. I remember one of the chapters. I think man, and I think I recently shared that in Twitter as well. A car in the paradox, something like that. I forgot the chapter name, but that is very fascinating idea. Like we all human want to feel good or feel big, and or we all have some kind of a mindset like okay, we all want some bigger money, want to become millionaire, and want to have some big cars. But when you are on the road in a car, so people don't look at you, people look at your car. When you ride a BMW, they don't look at Jack, they look at BMW.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, that's a very poignant idea. Yeah, and yeah, so we'll take those books and also add them to the description down below. And unfortunately, I think we should cut it off because this has been an incredibly enjoyable talk. But yeah, I don't want to keep people on the call that long. If you do have any other questions, I think we should all take a page from Ankur's book and just cold tweet him. Just send a tweet with the question and
Yeah, please.
on Twitter, and that's the best way to get yeah, the questions out there. Um, so
Feel free to send me any follow-up questions. So I'll try to help. Mostly, how I do, like generally on sitting on a weekend, somewhere around 1 hour, I'll try to spend and on my Twitter DMs. Yeah, don't expect instant answers, but definitely, if you have sent me interesting things, definitely will answer back.
especially now that you're on your holidays, so
Right.
so
And,
yeah, I
and
think
thank you, Jack, for inviting me. It was pleasure talking to you, and looking forward to meet you in person when I come to Lisbon.
that would be absolutely amazing. I think I speak for the whole community. Thanks a million. This was one of the most informative talks we've had so far. So thanks again, and best of luck. We'll see you in the future.
Thank you, guys. Bye bye.
All the best. Bye bye.